A lacklustre performance from United against West Brom got United their first win of the season at Old Trafford in the league. The whiteboard analysis focuses on United's lopsided attack, the lack of movement up front, and United's inferior midfield press without McTominay in the side. First, let's look at the stats. Despite the lack of fluency in United's game, they dominated possession and created a number of chances, which could and should have given United a bigger scoreline. But the stat of only one offside loosely points towards the lack of movement up front, which I will get to a bit later. Let's move on to the whiteboard. The first thing I want to concentrate on was United's lopsided attack. Throughout the majority of the game, United barely moved the ball out to the right hand side, and as a result, were only playing within 2/3 of the pitch. Why? Wan-Bissaka. Even when the switch was on, United's midfield had such little confidence in Wan-Bissaka's ability on the ball. They kept the ball in field and back out to the left again. It completely destroyed United's ability to stretch West Brom's low defensive block across the pitch. It also allowed West Brom's back five to crab across the pitch to the left hand side and really compact the 2/3 of the pitch United tried to play in. We even saw Mata coming across to the left from the right hand side just to get a touch of the ball. In the game, Wan-Bissaka had 86 touches of the ball compared to Telles, who had 105 touches of the ball. Personally, as bad as Wan-Bissaka is on the ball, the other United players don't have the right to avoid passing him the ball. If United had an out-and-out right winger, they could get away with it, but due to United's inverted attack, if they don't give Wan-Bissaka the ball, there is no other outlet on the right to switch the play. By not giving him the ball, United are compacting themselves and making it easier for the opposition to defend against them. Now moving on to United's lack of movement up front. Martial always moves towards the ball to get easy possession, and Rashford holds his position and only moves when he is on the ball. By neither player making runs in behind, it allowed West Brom to hold the defensive line that they wanted and control the space between the lines. If Martial and Rashford had made those runs in behind, it would have made West Brom's back five turn and move towards their own goal, which would have created bigger spaces between the lines. Just the runs themselves create a problem for defenders, even if the player that has made the run doesn't receive the ball. But when Cavani came on, he showed Martial and Rashford how a proper marksman moves. Whichever side of the pitch the ball is on, Cavani gets on the blind side of the defender who is marking him, and then makes runs across the defender into the spaces in behind the defensive line. I highlighted the low number of offsides United had in the game, and that obviously doesn't directly indicate the lack of runs in behind from Martial and Rashford. But the eye test of the game showed that when Cavani came on, despite making numerous runs, he was never looked for. This shows how conditioned United are to a static front line that at best comes towards the ball. In recent analysis, I have highlighted the important part United's midfield press, performed by Fred and McTominay, has played in the games United have performed well in this season. Against West Brom, Fred was there doing his bit, but Matic was miles off the pace. This is the build-up to the Karlan Grant chance in the first half. You can see that Fred is up the pitch, ready for the midfield press if the ball goes into midfield, but Matic is not even in the picture. If McTominay was on the pitch, he would have been on that press line with Fred, and this situation would never have materialised. Moving on to the next phase of the play, with Matic so far out of position from the press line, he charges out to Pereira, sells himself, and gets nutmegged. Because Matic did not press with Fred, Pereira bypassed United's press, got goal side of all United's midfield, and slipped the ball through to Grant into the space behind United's defensive line, and United nearly conceded. United's defensive line is that high because the anticipation was Matic and Fred would provide the protection to stop West Brom playing through midfield like that. Matic's lack of mobility caused a domino effect on the whole of United's defensive formation, but this is what slow players do. They drop off to try and keep the play in front of them, because if opposition players get goal side of them, they haven't got the recovery pace. The fact that Matic got found out against a team in the bottom three and with 63% possession should tell all United fans that he is finished at United. The Devils' verdict is, despite a lacklustre performance, United backed up a great result and performance against Everton with a win, and the fact Sam Johnston was probably man of the match says that the scoreline could have been more convincing. but the lack of movement up front and the lack of depth at 6 will cost United as the season goes on. For me, I want to see Cavani get a proper crack at the width. For that to happen, I would move Martial out to the left, play Cavani through the middle and Rashford on the right. If Cavani produces the goods and Martial doesn't on the left, I would move Rashford back to the left, bring Greenwood back onto the right and drop Martial. A lot of United fans will disagree with that because he is a popular player. He is a good player, but he hasn't proven himself to be a top striker and is nowhere near in the same league as United Premier League greats like Hughes, Cole, Van Nistelrooy and Van Persie. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the analysis and how you felt the game went. As always, please like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you in the next video.